Coming up this week on Winchester's Deadly Passion, Melissa is hunting eastern South Dakota on an incredible bow hunt with Cody Warren, and the bucks are swarming. There are literally hundreds of deer circling the area, but the real difficulty is getting a mature buck inside bow range. She's trying a variety of tactics, but ground blind hunting seems to be her best bet, and hopefully it's only a matter of time before a big buck steps into range.
We're out here in South Dakota and we've set up on a stock dam. We're out at Cody Warren's place and he has got the bucks and the deer. There's a lot of deer coming right to this area. So we put up a ground blind here. Now it's been here for long enough that these deer should be used to it. So I'm hoping these deer will either come on the other side and move towards us or come right out on the sides. This ground blind should contain our scent. We sprayed down well before we came in. So I'm hoping that'll do the trick. Now all these deer were kind of on the opposite side of the pond that we were sitting. So I'd be looking at a 60 to 70 yard shot at this distance. The question though was whether or not this buck was a shooter. He wasn't all that big, and where we were hunting, well, they've got a very strict management policy, and that's the reason there are such big bucks. If you adhere to it, you can produce the really nice deer, and that's all part of it. So on this trip, well, there may have been a couple of bucks that I may have shot somewhere else, but here in South Dakota, we were looking for a very nice, old, mature buck. Nice rack would be helpful, but I wanted to make sure that he was in that 4.5-year-old age class or better, because I didn't want to be shooting one of these young deer. Well, this was definitely the hot place for all the deer. Now, it was a little bit before the rut, so there wasn't a lot of rutting activity, but there was some pre-rut going on. A few of the bucks were starting to fight each other, and regardless of where the bucks are at, they all need one thing, and that is water. Really tell that the rut is starting to ramp up. All the bucks, well, they are in fighting mode. They're ready to rock and roll, and there's a little sparring going on around the water hole, a lot of activity. And that's one of the cool things about being out here in South Dakota. There are so many deer here. Makes it a little bit more exciting. Nice to see a lot of the deer, but the thing is where we're set up, it's almost like they ambush us. They're coming over the top and all of a sudden they're just there on top of us. So we really got to be alert. We've got most of the windows closed, focusing just straight across the stock dam, but trying to check these sides as well because these deer have been coming in close as well. So Looks like a pretty awesome sit. Just gotta get it one in close enough. We're out in South Dakota and I'm looking at some long shots. So when you've got long shots, well, your gear is extremely important. Now I've got my Matthews Jewel here, a bow I absolutely love and feel confident with. Now this bow is set to about 63 pounds, so that's something I've been comfortable with. I've shot that for years and I can shoot sitting on the ground, knees up, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now the other thing, I've got these Easton injection arrows. They're a very small diameter and get great penetration. Now that, coupled with my broadhead I'm using, this is the Rage Hypodermic, a brand new head out, and the nice thing is, it's probably one of the best penetrating broadheads on the market. Just great penetration, and when you have really long shots, these are all key factors. So I've got the right setup. Now I just hope to get a buck inside my comfort zone so I can make a shot and put all this great product to use. So we're all set. Now it's just time for the bucks to come in close. One of the things I really enjoy about ground blinds is if the deer are used to it and you're wearing black and are hidden inside, you can really get away with a lot and have deer very close. And that's exactly what was going on. It was a non-stop show all day long. We had tons of pheasants. And that's one of the other cool things. When you go to hunt with Cody, not only does he have great deer hunting, but he's got incredible duck hunting and unbelievable pheasant hunting. So it's almost one of those hunts where you could go there, get a little pheasant, a little duck, and some incredible deer hunting all at one location. We're a little bit here before the rut. It's still a little bit earlier, but every deer in the country, well, it needs to water, and this is one of the only watering locations around. So I'm hoping we should get an eyeful here. The only scary part is, well, on the other side of the pond, I'm not sure I can make that long of a shot. We're looking at over 70 yards, and with the bow, that's just a lot of room for air, and the deer move. I don't want to make a shot and have the deer turn and be in a different location by the time it gets there. So it's going to be a patience game, but you know what? I like the odds here. There's a lot of prints. It looks like a great location, and hopefully we'll have some luck. Thought he was going to be coming right to me. I got to full draw, settled my pin in on him, and I just wasn't comfortable with the shot. The last thing I wanted to do is take a long shot, risk this deer jumping the string, possibly wounding him. It just wasn't worth it. So I decided I'm going to wait, hope for a closer in shot, and that just didn't happen. Just had a buck at probably 75, 78 yards across the stock dam. And these shots, they're just a little too far. That's out of my comfort zone for a whitetail. I mean, you've got a pretty small target at that distance, and we're dealing with winds. It is calming down some in the evenings, but man, this place has been an absolute hot spot. We have deer literally coming all day. probably one of the most fun sits you can sit all day because there is constant activity. We've got pheasants, we've got does, we've got fawns, and in the evenings we have got bucks. And we're even starting to see some of the bucks coming midday. And the nice thing is they're coming here for the water, so they could be coming through at any point in time, and we are set up in a great location. It's just unfortunately this big boy was just too far away, and that's where a lot of these bucks have been going. So I'm thinking that we might try sitting it out here again tomorrow, but if it stays like this, we might move this blind around to the other side and get right in close with them.
Winchester's Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Matthews, catch us if you can. Cuddy Back Digital. Thought Pod, versatility defined. Easton, expect the best. Winchester Repeating Arms. And Hunter Safety System.
Now, a lot of the hunting that I do is in the Midwest, maybe over food plots, but out here in South Dakota, well, we're hunting out in big sunflower fields. Now, the cool thing about sunflowers is the fact that these deer can bed in it. It's great cover, they can eat here, and we've got a little water hole right in the middle. What I like about it is the fact that these bucks can stroll around in this area, hit the water hole at any time, and it's completely secluded, so they can hit their water, not have to go too far out of their way, and hopefully we can find a big buck coming in while it's still light. Apparently, every buck in the country wants to come up on the opposite side of the stock dam. And the shots are just too far. I got to full draw, but it's just too far of a shot right now. I'm just too nervous to end up wounding something. So I think what I'm gonna do, we've been sitting here for a couple of days now. We're gonna move this blind to the other side. That's where all the deer seem to wanna be. I don't know if it's because they're avoiding our blind, so they're going to that side, or if that's just where they wanna be, but we're gonna soon find out. So we're gonna take this blind, move it around the other side, set up there, and see if that doesn't look any better. Well, we spent quite a bit of time brushing in this blind. Now, looking at it from every direction, I think it looks really good. The only hard part is always the black windows. But we've got everything brushed in. It's not silhouetted. It should be 25, 30 yard shot. just had a pretty close call. It's the last evening, and I had a doe literally about 2 steps from the blind, and a nice buck was behind her and actually came running right toward us. I had all the time in the world to make a shot. It's the last evening, but it's not what I came here for, and I wasn't confident that it was an old enough buck to shoot out here. I would rather go home without a deer, which it looks like I'm doing now, rather than take a buck like that on the last evening. We saw some absolute beautiful bucks here, and the reason why? Well, because of the management. So we're gonna wrap up this South Dakota hunt, maybe try to get back here later, and overall, it was an incredible experience.
Winchester's Deadly Passion is presented by Swarovski Optic, North American Hunting Club, Rage Broadheads, Golden Triangle Whitetail, Can-Am ATVs and side-by-side vehicles, Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry technology. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. And M&P, Advanced by Design. Closed captioning is brought to you by the 4-in-1 Woodsman from Zippo Outdoor.
Well, this had been just an incredible trip. No, I didn't get a deer, but I had a lot of nice bucks in close. I had made some moves, tried things, and it just didn't work out. And that's part of bow hunting. But I did have one thing left. I had my rifle and I was headed to Texas for another whitetail hunt. And I was confident that the number of deer down there, well, hopefully I could get inside a rifle range there. Well, I know it's hard to believe by what I'm wearing, but I'm actually in Texas right now. We've got a winter wheat field right in front of us. Now, it's not exactly what you think of when you think of hunting Texas, but it's a great food source that deer anywhere like. So right now, it's getting close to evening. It's my first day here in Texas, and actually one of my first times hunting Texas deer. The cool thing is, we could have a buck come up, I'll be in luck. Also, they have a lot of hogs on this property, so I'll be watching for those too. This trip I'll be shooting a 300 Win Mag, so whatever steps out, well, I think they might be in trouble. Now this is about where I last saw that hog. He just came running through, and I was gonna wait to try to see if there were any more deer, but probably spooked most of them off. But I'd like to see, I think that hog probably just made it just a little ways in the brush, but I couldn't wait any longer. Right here's my hog. Now I'm supposed to be here whitetail hunting, but apparently, well, I can't quite stay away from these hogs. Just an awesome deer. That's one of my favorite things about hunting Texas. I'm supposed to be out here deer hunting, and this big old black boar comes running through. Probably messed up my deer hunting for the afternoon. I was thinking about waiting in the blind, but I just got a little too antsy and wanted to see where this hog is. So we'll probably either sit this blind again tomorrow morning or try a couple different options. But we've got an awesome place to hunt here, and I just can't quite pass up a hog. Out in the field. I don't know how long he's been there. I just glanced out in the field, and a real nice buck. He looked like just a beautiful, I think he's a 10. He might have had a broke off point. And now I can't wait to go take a look at him. Look at this buck. Awesome deer. What a beautiful buck. You know what? You couldn't have got any prettier light out here right now. We're out here, and this buck came right in. We've had a couple of close encounters, but this is just beautiful. He's got great mass. He's got splits here, comes all the way through. Looks like just an old deer. Well, I'm pretty pumped. This is my first ever Texas buck. Just great mass and old deer and a nice close shot. We got him before it got too dark and you can't beat it. I'm hunting here after Christmas. Back home, everybody's dealing with snow and I'm down here enjoying the semi-warm weather with a beautiful buck. Now the only thing will be is, are the Texas deer as good tasting as the Midwest deer? Only time will tell.